Hello world, welcome back to Razor RC. Thought I'd shoot another basically update video to another video I made about, I don't know, 6 months ago or so. I have a review video or comparison video of the top 3 RC entry-level radio transmitters out there on the market today. So that review covered the Sanwa MX-6, the Futaba 3PV, and the Spektrum DX5C. Go check that out if you haven't already. That's a really deep dive, sort of in-depth comparison of the top 3 radios on the market at the time. So I basically go through comparisons between the build, the features, the ergonomics, all kinds of things. So it's a really long video and very comprehensive, and basically provides my feedback on what I think is the best radio on the market at that time. Now, since then, Sanwa has released the Sanwa MX6 that you can see here on the left. So that is the replacement for the Sanwa MX-V. It's a little bit better, and so I thought I'd shoot an update video kind of talking about what my thoughts are now that, you know, Sanwa has a new radio on the market. So is it good enough to beat the other guys? Would I recommend buying that? So I wanted to kind of explain that. Now, I didn't want to shoot an entire whole new video explaining you know, again, what are the top radios in a bunch of different categories, because it would be kind of redundant. That other video already covers that. But with the new Sanwa MX6, I thought I'd kind of go through a real quick Cliff Notes version. So ranking from third to first, what radios I think are, you know, best or second or third place, and kind of a quick overview on why. I don't want to get into too much detail. So anyways, this is going to go from third to first, bronze to gold, and here are my thoughts. Now, there are other radios on the market like the Fly Sky, etc., but these 3 represent basically the 3 most popular, the best known, probably the most widely purchased radios on the market today. They're all $109.99, so that's pretty cool that they're all exactly the same price. And so they definitely are head-to-head competitors. And I've also run these radios back to back in the same car on a Traxxas Wrestler at the track, basically comparing response times, blah, 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 you know, all kinds of good stuff. So I could really get a good feel for the pros and cons in each of these. So without further ado, let's get into it. Third place is going to be the Sanwa MX6. Yes, this is the newest radio on the market. It is the successor to the MX-V. And so I do have a full in-depth review on this. Go check it out if you want to know more about why I'm picking a third. But basically what it came down to was, you know, the pros for this radio: very stylish radio, very good looking. They didn't address some of the concerns I had with the MX-V, which is kind of the stiff steering wheel, the overpriced receivers, and such like that. And on paper, it's actually still a very similar radio to the MX-V. I mean, even the display looks exactly the same. The ergonomics, I think the wheel's even the same, probably the battery tray. Everything is very, very similar to the MX-V. The MX-V was really not one of the more competitive radios in my 3-way comparison, and the MX6 really didn't do much to push it above that status. They switched from FHSS2 to this new FHE protocol you can see there. I'm not really sure why. I mean, it did drop the cost of the receivers a little bit, but this radio has a few issues. Number one, I do not like the FHE thingy. This is the only radio that uses it. The receiver that comes with it is the only receiver that supports that. So once you buy this radio, you're going to be stuck using FHE. You're going to be stuck buying more of those single receivers. And if you ever upgrade to a higher end radio, you're just not going to be able to use those receivers. Or if you have other Sanwas, you're just not going to be able to control them with this radio. So that seems to be a massive minus. You know, the receivers are also expensive. The performance was a little bit on the slow side. On the plus side, the ergonomics are very good. I do like the controls quite a bit. I find the trigger, the handle, the wheel, all to be very, very nice. The menu is also very simple. It's a solid radio, but features-wise, it's pretty plain Jane. It's pretty run-of-the-mill. There's nothing really much going on with this radio. It works, it's solid, and that's about all you can really say about the radio. Nothing there that impressed me, and the FHE thingy is a big minus. So third place, the Sanwa MX6. Moving on to second place, what do we got? Well, we got the 3PV and the Spektrum. These haven't changed from my review video comparison in the past. So in second place, as you probably know, is the Futaba 3VV. This is actually probably the fastest radio, in my opinion. You know, I ran this, you know, with the Spektrum and the MX6 on a race wrestler. I don't kind of a what do you call it? I don't know. Contortion in words. But anyways, yeah, the 3PV is a very fast radio. On paper, it doesn't say that it's a fast radio, but it just seemed the most responsive to me, so I don't have the numbers to back it up, but I found it to be a very fast and capable receiver. The receivers are very are excellent. They're inexpensive. They're very fast. They're compatible with other Futaba radios on the market today. They also make a very nice cordless receiver. I think it's called the 203 GFE, 204 GFE, something like that. That's $40, 3 channels. Awesome receiver. Probably my favorite on the market today. You know, the wheel is nice. The menu, not really the best. Features wise, also nothing really too impressive here. It's got all the same features as the Sanwa, but they added a couple more things like 4-wheel mixing, and then also it's got battery telemetry if you actually buy the right receiver. But you know, still a fairly standard radio. Very good looking. The really nice thing is it's got support for basically life batteries or LiPo batteries right off the bat. You don't have to change plugs or connectors or anything. But the one main problem I have with this radio is that I really just don't like the way the radio sits in your hand. Like, this handle just kind of sweeps back. It's got a really long throw to especially full brake and throttle. Your finger kind of smashes into the underside of this radio. The wheel is actually really good. I like the wheel a lot, but the handle, the trigger, the ergonomics, I just find it to be very poor overall. And so if the radio is not comfortable in your hands, you don't feel like you have full control over the throttle, then you're just not going to like using it. And this is actually probably my least favorite radio to actually drive with, just because of that ergonomics. So unfortunately, you know, if they could fix that, I'd rate it much higher. I think it'd be a near perfect radio, but you know, that kind of puts it in second place. So obviously that puts in third place still the reigning champion, the Spektrum DX5C. Pros. What are the pros of this radio? It's freaking got a lot of features. You got 5 channels. The other 2 have 3 channels. It's got stability control. It's got every adjustment the other guys have. It's got like speed control, dimension programmable buttons. So you can basically set all these buttons to whatever you want. You've got E and F buttons down here. You've got a very nice display. It's the only truly like sort of full graphical display where you can kind of go through the menu system and stuff like that. It's just a full dot matrix display. The other ones are more like a Casio watch from the 90s. They kind of got that fixed LCD, you know, alphanumeric thing going on. Yeah, just an awesome radio overall. Ergonomics are very good. It's got adjustable steering. It's got nice rubberized grip texture. Throttle feels good. You know, it's really got features of something more like the Sanwa MTS, which is like a mid-range radio for $200, but it's got all that kind of for a $100 package. Now, what are the downsides of this radio? It's probably not quite as fast as the Futaba. I think it's really close, but if I had to split hairs, I'd guess that the Futaba just feels a little bit quicker to me. The other thing I don't like, I mean, it's pretty ugly. I mean, it just looks like it got hit with the ugly stick one too many times. So I think Spektrum's an American company. Maybe, you know, American designers or whatever are not quite as stylish as the Japanese. I don't know. But anyways, I just don't like the way it looks. That's just kind of a cosmetic thing. Other things are the binding sucks on this radio. I mean, it still uses bind plugs. The receivers themselves are fine. You know, they're fairly inexpensive, so I like that. And there's a lot of options in receivers, and they're all compatible with all the higher end Spektrum radios. So if you upgrade to a DX5 Pro or whatever, or DX6R, you can once again use the same receivers with this radio, and that's really nice. Also, probably on a quality perspective, in terms of like the software or firmware on this radio, I did notice, you know, 1 or 2 bugs. I did have a problem binding this thing the first time. So electronics quality, you know, based on other people's feedback and my own experiences, maybe a hair down from the other guys. Definitely, Spektrum has a reputation for having glitching problems. I didn't experience any glitching problems, but I did have problems binding the first time. I did notice 1 or 2 bugs with the software. Nothing big, but just little things that kind of point out that maybe it's not quite up there. Now, that being said, my Sanwa MX6 also did not quite work right out of the box. So the first Sanwa MX6 I bought, I got from A-Main. The range was completely messed up. The car would go about 20-30 yards, and then it would not be controlled by the radio at all. Is basically unresponsive until you got back within that range. So the range was completely messed up. I don't know if the receiver was bad or the radio was bad, but something was bad. So I had to basically send that back. Aiming fixed me up and got me on the road again. So that was nice of them. I'm not sponsored by Aiming, by the way. I just pointing out that they did a good job with their customer service. I purchased all these radios myself, so anyways. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Spektrum DX5C, I think, is still the rating champ. You know, other people out there are going to say they like their Futaba, they like their Sanwa, and that's fine. I'm not saying any of these are bad radios, but for me, if I'm going to buy one, if I have to give my recommendation, I think this is the best radio still on the market today. Very happy with it, and no plans to sell this anytime soon. So anyways, that's it for my review. Please like, subscribe to my channel as always. Give me your thoughts and feedback on these radios. If you buy one, if you own one, if you are thinking about getting one, whatever, hit the notifications button, also the little bell icon if you want to find out about new videos and reviews in the future. And anyways, thanks for watching. Bye now.